It's more than the driver. It's more than the car. For Lotus F1 team, the winning edge starts with the cloud, powered by Microsoft Dynamics, Azure, and Office 365. The team can analyze and share data from over 200 sensors, working in sync to make the calls that make the difference between winning and losing. This is the Microsoft Cloud.
Hello, welcome to ZDNet Cloud TV. Now, there might be plenty of benefits in jumping onto the cloud, but what are some of the hurdles to look out for? For all those details and more, I'll be speaking with Drew Graham. He's CTO at Advantage Technology, and he's also a member at the Asia Cloud Computing Association. Hi, Drew.
Hi, Ryan.
All right, Drew, so maybe you can run off first with some of the main points. What are the main hurdles to look out for when someone wants to approach a cloud?
In our experience, we see 5 main hurdles. The first is customers that aren't ready for the cloud for timing issues. They've got sunk or legacy costs. The second is the total cost of ownership of cloud maybe not being as beneficial as many of the marketing materials make it out to be. Related to that is the capital and operational expenditure argument, and how, again, that may not fall within the parameters that we're led to understand. The final one I think we could talk about is one that's going to be more prevalent in the next few years, which is about data sovereignty and about the nationalistic clouds.
All right. On the example of sunk costs, legacy problems, how does someone in that scenario, I guess, migrate to a more cloud approach?
It's about getting all of the decision makers around the same table and having a single conversation about solving their business problem. We see having a business conversation with a CEO where he wants to move to a cloud and he wants it to solve a business problem, and we have a technical conversation with the CTO, and there could be an issue where they've already got a lot of hardware, a lot of sunk costs, they haven't got a refresh cycle coming up soon, or they've got legacy systems that it's going to be too difficult to get rid of. The answer is very often one of timing, and that timing is going to be driven by getting all of the stakeholders around the table and having a business conversation as opposed to a technical conversation.
Okay, and another issue would be TCO, so total cost of ownership. What are the blind spots to look out for?
There's quite a buzz at the moment, especially when we start talking about the total cost of running all of your infrastructure, all of your applications on Amazon or Azure or Rackspace, where everything is pay-per-use. Very often, what we're finding is when we start crunching the numbers, which we now have, having done so many of these deployments, as to what the costs are going to be to run everything on-premise versus on the cloud, on-premise ends up being cheaper over a 3 to 5 year period. Yes, you have to capitalize it, it takes more cash up front, but when you amortize that over 3 to 5 years, you end up saving money. The cloud has a use in this scenario. It's not as if you're ignoring the cloud. You're still taking a cloud-first approach. You're just building in a hybrid environment to make sure that your fixed workloads are going to be done on-premise.
And now we've got the Edward Snowden NSA leaks, and as well as many data sovereignty concerns. Are you seeing more customers moving to an on-premise mindset?
I'll be honest, not yet. We predict that exactly we will see that. At the moment, especially in Singapore, the NSA Edward Snowden thing hasn't really had a massive impact on people, how people are buying cloud. From what I understand, we've only got the tip of the iceberg here. This is going to become a bigger and bigger issue as we go through the next few years and this entire saga actually plays out. The data sovereignty side of thing, again, being in Singapore, we've got some very good data sovereignty laws here about accessing data across borders. If you look at some of the work we do in Indonesia, some of the work that we're looking towards in Thailand, in Malaysia, the data sovereignty laws there are slightly less forward-thinking, and some of them are talking about needing nationalistic clouds, needing to hold data to be delivered to customers inside their actual geographical borders. That's going to end up being an issue where you get one division of a company wanting access to a service that has to be delivered locally and that the service provider can't see that. We don't see that today, but if we do this in another 12 to 18 months, I can see that being an issue.
Okay, and one of the issues perhaps the size of the company, does that matter in how you approach the cloud? Are bigger companies having a harder time jumping onto cloud services?
We see that. The smaller the company, the more dynamic, obviously. So it's very easy to go and have a conversation with some of the customers that we've brought almost entirely onto the cloud now. And if you have to speak to the CEO or the owner of the company, and they've got the right mindset for moving to the cloud, then it's very easy to move. When you've got a larger company, when you've got a true big enterprise, and I can think of examples of a large packaging company that we had to work with, where one conversation with one person on the board table about moving to the cloud, and then the same conversation with somebody else, and they had a very different mindset. The CFO actually wanted to spend all of his money on assets and not spend it on an operational expenditure. So it's a far more nuanced conversation, it's a far longer sell, and you have to be able to take the business and the technical conversation and combine it into a single conversation when you're dealing with large enterprises. With the mid-market, it's easier, they're more dynamic.
So it sounds like in a larger company, there are more people to win over, you've got to align more C-level executives in the same business agenda. There's even a difference in opinion on CAPEX versus OPEX.
Absolutely, absolutely. Some companies are far, the cloud ethos that's drilled into us says that all companies prefer operational expenditure over capital expenditure, and we do see that frequently. In the last 6 months, I can think of 2 examples where we've seen a company that would actually prefer to capitalize or at least spend all of the money up front for tax reasons and then amortize that over a period of time. The CTO very often doesn't have access to that information, and so yes, you're right. At the enterprise, the sales process today isn't selling to the CTO, it's stakeholder management across the whole suite.
All right, thanks Drew. That's all the time we have on ZDNet Cloud TV. Thanks for helping us run through some of the top hurdles companies have to look out for when approaching the cloud.
Thank you very much, Ron.